What's up guys, it's Minx. In today's video we're going to proceed down the path of our GUI, not by like expanding it yet. That's something we're going to wait for down the line. I'm not sure when. I just really don't. GUI is so boring. It is the most boring aspect of creating games in my opinion. Um, in today's video we're going to go down this path. So you see here we have our sort of a flowchart that turns into like a mess. And this is so there's some GUI stuff here, there's some file stuff here. I guess we're not going completely down to the GUI thing yet. So this is essentially our path for creating a new level. So like when we say, hey, I want to design a new level, what do? Hit the create button. It creates a new file. We name the level. We're probably not going to be doing that for a while because using a built-in text box kind of sucks, and creating a custom one also sucks. So we don't really have a good option. We can create one; it won't be that bad. So we'll see how that works. But yeah, so we'll see how that goes. And then the player loads in. It's like, okay, we load into the thing. We show a designer UI, and then you click on this little block here, and then you can drag it out, and it goes to XY. So one of the get rid of those. One of the biggest things here is we have to make some decisions. Probably not in this video, maybe in another video or two. I don't know. It depends on how far we get these next couple of videos. Is so right now our blocks when we make them, like we can tell them how big or like how big we want them. We have to make the decision on what that's going to be at some point. So if we look at like load level right now, so our load level, oops, wrong button, tells us that we, like when we load the level right now, we're just saying, hey, load them at 50/50 size every single time. So we have a level that loads them at 50/50. I don't know if I want to do like 25/25 or 50/50 or something like that, or give the blocks the like block.scale or something like that. It's kind of difficult to sort of say, hey, let's do that. So we'll see. I'm not sure what we're going to do with it yet. We still have time to make that decision, and right now I don't want to. Um, if we make the decision that it's custom and then we set all blocks to 25/25 anyway, fine. But yeah, so with that in mind, the next thing we want to do right now is actually make the button to load into the level designer. So we're going to copy this over, and I realized something that I thought was interesting. If we have this so that's what it was doing. That's weird. So if these buttons collide, they like freeze our game, I think, when we click them. So like right now we have these buttons at the same exact position. So if I hit start and I hit play, like this, like there obviously overlaps when I have the one. Hit this. I think see how it's like constantly white or like light green here and our player's not moving? I'm pretty sure we're just constantly getting like reloaded here. So be careful with that. I don't really understand how that's an issue because the buttons aren't checking for collision with other buttons. But if we say change this so it's position, we'll do like plus 50. There we go. They won't like break anymore. Now this is kind of weird because we're offset now, so these UI, that's something we'll have to keep in mind, is we're going to need their position on screen rather than their world position, because right now mouse is technically at screen position like, I don't know, 400, whereas this by default's at 400. So if we do like oop, oh wow, I don't know how I managed that. Actually, I do know how I managed that. That's kind of funny though. All right, let's go ahead and close out of this, and let's fix this. So firstly, we want to make sure we call game.deregister when we do something like that. So if we hit start and then we deregister the menu, it disappears, so we don't have to worry about it. So we don't accidentally click it twice. And then for this new one, we're going to change how it looks. So we're going to change this to create new level. For now, we'll just do create new level. We won't do like create or edit an existing level or anything like that. And we'll do a private void create level. And we'll just change this over to create level. And we can change the stuff here if we want to. I'm not too worried about it. Let's see, what's a good color? Aqua? The heck's the difference between aqua and aquamarine? Hold on. What? Aqua versus aquamarine. C#. Okay, what is the... So, hold on. FF00 FFFF. Hashtag FF00 FFFF. What? There's no way. Hashtag FF00 FF. Okay, so that gets us. So aqua is a very light green, or a very light aqua. How about aquamarine? Let's see, FF7 FFFD4. 7 FFFD4. And it's basically the same thing. I mean, I'm colorblind as hell, but okay. What's the other aqua? Medium aquamarine. Shit. FF66CDAA. And it's darker. So we'll do medium aquamarine for the base color, and we'll do aquamarine for the other color. And if this is following the standard, we should get a... Wow, that is horrible. I like it. So we've got create new level and start new level. Create new level doesn't do anything. Nice thing is it doesn't break and we click in it and it's not defined. So got that set up. Now create level, we're probably not going to actually do this. So to do start level designer. Instead, we're going to create a sort of quote unquote helper class. What this helper class is essentially going to do is handle our level file stuff. So it's sort of a layer between our game and the file system. Because trying to do that shit in like game window's already going to be big enough. I mean, it's already pretty big as it is. Making it bigger is unnecessary. So let's go to game, add a new item, and call it whatever you want. Let's call it game save handler manager or something like that. It's we're probably going to do a lot more than just this with it. Like when I say a lot more, I mean like completely handle like all game save or save editing and stuff like that. So for now, we'll just do this for creating, loading, and saving. So first thing we want to do is say public string base name equals. I'm going to call it custom level. So the base name is, let's say, you have a couple parts to a path. You have C path, and then you have the end of it, and then file name dot file extension. We'll just say dot extension. So these are all the path pieces you have. So boop, boop, oops, not like that. I want them in between the dots. And actually, we're gonna make them even more accurate, and we're gonna do the correct slashes because we're gonna talk about those as well. So base name is file name. So this is gonna be custom level, and then we're gonna have an int I. Do I here. It's not gonna have the brackets, but we're gonna have custom level I, and then we're gonna do dot level. And then here we're probably gonna do roaming. So we're probably gonna put it here. This is gonna be sort of what our path, our saves look like. So we're gonna do public string file extension equals dot level. In my last video where we actually messed with game saves, and this was like back when we did like, I think we did the password, not the password, we got the password and we did game save editing for the for Lethal Company. They didn't have file extensions, which I imagine he probably did because it was like easier to not do with level file extensions, I guess. I'm not really sure. But anyway. So now for our location. So this is where the folder of which we're going to put our stuff. So we can say public string base location equals environment. If you don't have it, it should give you an error. Just double click on it. Environment dot special folder dot. We're gonna use application data. You can use local application data. What is common? We'll use application data. This goes into roaming. And we're not going to just do roaming. We're going to do our custom version of roaming. Well, not custom version of roaming. We're going to do a folder inside of roaming. And I'm going to call mine / game with no engine // If you didn't watch that other video about how environment or the paths work, when you do a slash, it does something called an escape character. I think I call it like a breaking character before. But however, it says represents an unrecognized escape sequence. So you do something like escape n, which will do a line break. But if we do 2 slashes, that'll say, hey, we want one of these in the string. So this sets that up. Let's go ahead and put this up here at the top. I don't mind keeping it there. Now that we've got that set up, we're going to create sort of our quote-unquote helper functions. I was thinking about making these static, but then I wanted to do something like this where we have like settings where it's like, okay, we don't need to say we want it to be called custom level 5.level at the base location. We don't want to redefine this elsewhere. It's going to be defined here. This is going to be an object that we create, and it's going to say handle, or we're going to have it handle for us. So we say public string create save. So this is probably going to be the first thing we do. We create a save. We want to make a string created file equals empty, or string.empty. So by default, it's empty so that we can set it to something if we're good, and if not, we return created file either way. It'll either return empty or a string of the file that we created. So for int I equals 0, I is less than, I'm just going to do 20, I plus plus. So we could have up to 21 different ones to save files at any given time. And we would say if, so we want to say if the file doesn't exist, so if not file.exists, and if file's coming up as an error, just make sure you include file.io, or file.exists. Oops. I was looking at my notes. We say base location plus base name plus I.toString. Might be a little redundant on the toString, but plus file extension. And I spelled file extension wrong. I'm going to add the X there. Extension. So if this does not exist, I plus plus, not plus equals, we're going to say file dot create, create text, create, and it's going to be the same thing. And then we're say created file equals that same thing. And then outside of the for loop, we're going to return created file. So what's going to happen is it's going to loop through all of these, and it says if the file doesn't exist, create it. If the file exists, that means we're trying to create a new one. There's an issue. If it gets to the point where we return string.empty, that means you have 21 saved files already set up. So we don't, we're not going to be saying, hey, do something other than ignore it. So we'll return string.empty and we'll let something else handle. It's like, hey, we already got 21 save files. So create save's good. We got a couple more in here. We're going to do, let's create, we're going to do load. Oops, public. And so we're doing public void for now. Load level from file, or do string path to file. And this is going to become annoying. I'm not sure if we're going to keep these like this or if we're going to do like a setting, like a string current file or something, or active file. I'm not sure, but we'll see. So if file.exists path to file, we're going to say level and make sure we add our level. So level game.levels level equals not a new level. Actually, we need to add in Newtonsoft here. So hop into your project manage NuGet packages, and browse and type in just Newtonsoft. It should be towards the top. This first one here, newtonsoft.json. I already have it installed, so I can uninstall it, but if you go to install it here, it should show up here. So go ahead and install it real quick. It is honestly my favorite package that C# or that is offered for C#. Once you have it, now we can say level equals newtonsoft.json.json convert, not JSON constructor attribute, JSON convert dot deserialize object, and it should autofill here level path to file. So if the file exists, we're going to deserialize it to JSON. And actually what we want to do is make this a level. So it should return a level. And we're going to return this level. I'm not sure how we're going to handle this if one doesn't exist. For now, we're going to return, actually we could return null. Okay, cool, we'll return null. So if we get a null reference exception, we could handle that. My other option was return an empty level, but if we're trying to load a level from a file, we shouldn't do that. So we'll see. We may actually have to error handle here, or say like try this, because excuse me, if something happens to the level during deserialization, or when we like create it and stuff, and it can't deserialize it, it's going to toss an exception. So we'll come back to that if we need to. Moving on, we're going to do the serialize, or we're going to do save level to file. We're going to, it's a little goofy. I don't know if it's probably not necessary, but we're going to do it this way. So we're going to make a private string. Oops, I accidentally fat fingered button and popped up. There we go. Private string. And we're just going to serialize level. I would say level. And it may autofill this. Oops. Get back out there. There we go. So we say return newtonsoft.json.json convert .serialize object, and it's going to be the level that we pass through. So all this does is takes the object and converts it to a string, and then the string converts it back to an object. Now, I'm sure it's fine. So let's move on to the last thing. And this one may need to be changed later, just a heads up. So we're going to do public void save level to file. I'm going to take a string path to file and a level. And in here, we want to say something like string data equals serialized level. We're just going to pass that through. And then we're going to say if. Now, we don't really need to do this part, but I'm going to do it anyway. File that exists. So if path to file. So if this file exists, because we should have made it when we tried to create a level. So we say create a level. The first thing it's going to do is create that save. And then we'll probably store that save. It's like, okay, here's our active level. It's path to file. Go ahead and save that. And then when we go to like save the level, save the file, we're going to use that file that we saved as path to file. So we check to see if it exists as well. It's a little redundant for a couple reasons. Firstly, we just created it, so it should exist. Secondly, when we say file.write all text, and we say path to file and data, it should autofill. We hover over write all text. It says creates a new file with writes the specified string to the file, then closes the file. Theoretically, well, not theoretically, because I already know that's how it works. It's going to create that level or that file anyway. So technically, we don't need to check if it exists. It's a little redundant, but it's not a big deal. It's not like we're doing this every frame. So that's pretty much it for today's video. I didn't want to do too much because we're kind of treading in unknown territory, and I don't want these to be too long. I've tried to keep these short, but some of the other videos just, I mean, it's just enough to push it up into that 30-40 minute range every single fucking time. Anyway, in the next video, we're going to try and utilize these functions. We're going to like try and get in a level designer. We may start adding like textures and stuff instead of just colors, because I know these blocks are probably getting boring or annoying. So we're going to keep trying improving this stuff on every front until we're at a comfortable spot. I think I mentioned this in the last video. I'm planning on doing an RPG style game using the same sort of like, not the same kind of method, I guess you could say. So where we are like we create a 2D game. I'm probably going to use like the framework that we created here originally. I might not start. I probably won't start over. I'll probably like copy it over. And then after that, go in and instead of doing like gravity, we're just going to be a player going on a, you know, up and down, left and right without being forced down. And the camera follows us, and the camera could actually be a little sticky in that case, which is nice, makes things a little easier. Or we could use the auto cam that we have. I'm not sure. But yeah, it's a little easier. So we'll see. I kind of want to do that. I don't know if I'm going to be doing it alongside these videos or when I'm done with these. We'll see how that goes. This is a long series. I'm not even sure how long it's going to be. It could be 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 videos for all I know. But I'll keep uploading these until we're done. So I'll just keep this going. In the meantime, thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.